What is up? Ready for an awesome mentor group, as always. Hey, Sean. Lulu just went bullish on a 30-minute chart. Let's check that real quick before we get started. Today's going to be a little bit of a question and answer period. So, um, yeah, it did. Broke out. I think I might wait for a little bit of a retest on this. Back into some EMAs. This should be ready now for a credit spread once we can get a pullback. I'll keep an eye on that one. I think Lulu should be a nice monthly spread we can get into. All right. If you have questions, throw them into the chat pane. And we're going to do some more reps on trading, reps on setting stuff up, reps on how to manage a trade, etc. What would you say is kind of your main holdups right now, if you have any? I know we're kind of slowly working through this stuff, but still, I know that there are still holdups. So what would those be? What do you guys have?
I struggle between being not patient enough and being too patient. Like, how do you know when to be patient and just let the plan work, and when it's like, no, it's changed, you need to cut and run?
Gotcha.
Because every
Yeah,
time I
so
seem to cut and run, it's like a fake out, and we bounce the next day. I'm like, damn it.
yeah, the markets are doing this a lot. I mean, AMD is a prime example of this, right? It's like we're dying, we're not. We're dying, we're not. And it's honestly, it's just straight sideways. I think there's a good chance we're going to go up, but the weekly still looks like we could be heading. I'm just going to stay in my puts, right? The key is recognize first off and accept that you're going to be wrong. Um, it's going to happen. Like you're going to cut things too soon, etc. It's kind of realizing how the markets are at currently, and if it is trappier, like right now, it's a lot trappier than it should be. Like the markets are like not doing what it should, and then it just reverses, right? That's where you want to jump into a bigger time frame. So use the hourly chart instead of the 30-minute chart. Use the 4-hour chart instead of an hourly. Like go to a bigger time frame whenever things get trappy. Because every time I go to a bigger time frame on AMD, I'm like, we're not out of the woods until we get strong closures above 184. Like a daily closure above 184, then yeah, retest. Let's add some more. I think we're going up. Until then, no matter how bullish looks right now, it's probably going to rotate over because it's just, I haven't given a whole lot. Now, it doesn't mean that has to. It's just, this is not the greatest thing I've ever seen for the Bulls, to be honest. But that's okay, right? Um, Either way, go to a bigger time frame and get a bigger perspective, and that's how it helps. So being too patient is, you just have to make sure it's not coming down to like you had a game plan and you're not following your game plan. Does that make sense? So if you being too patient means I planned on buying hedging puts whenever it breaks this and then it breaks and you're like, I'm not going to, that's too patient because you're breaking your plan that you made before you got into the trade. How do you know if you should be more patient? Well, if you make a plan and then you follow that plan and it's still not working, that simply just, it's going to happen. I would lean more towards that than I would the other one. So if it's kind of messing with you, just go, all right, well, first things first, set yourself up where you can still win. Like I didn't spend $4,000 on puts here. I spent $200. So if this thing does decide to go crazy, I'm still making really good money. Right? If it does go down, I'm covered. Great. So that's where we want to be at, of use the options, the setup of the option to allow yourself a little bit of cushion, even if you are wrong. So you can be patient without being overly patient. Stick with the plan you made before you get into the trade. There we go. Just rhyming. But honestly, I think what helps is you have to understand it's like there really isn't a great way to be perfect at that. And once you understand that, then I think you give yourself a little bit more leniency of like you're not feeling like you're doing something wrong. You're following the plan as best as you can. Really good question though. And that's the beauty of options. If you do them right and you do them at the right time, you can be wrong and right, right? Like we bought puts and I can still make money if it goes bullish. Great. Fantastic. So, in fact, if we go super bullish, I'm buying some more calls to make even more money on a bounce. And they'll be a little bit shorter term calls because this should work quickly. So, it'll be fun. I'm excited. I think no matter what, we'll pay for all of next month on this AMD trade if we can get up to 200 just on this one trade. We'll make it happen. Okay, what other questions do we have? Is there anything else that you're kind of struggling with? I know confidence this has been a hard month. We've taken a lot of small losses, and that's kind of dinged some confidence for some people in this group. That's okay. We're gonna be hitting on confidence in like 2 days, 3 days. So we'll see. This might be one of those times where I release the courses maybe over the weekend instead of on Monday. I'll have to see what I can do. I normally don't like doing that, but if it matches up like that where it's over the weekend, then I might do that just to give you some extra time to study so we can hit Monday rolling. But we're gonna be hitting on confidence. You guys are gonna like this next session's coming up. It's gonna be good. It's really gonna bridge the gap from like, I know I should control my motions. How do I actually do it? Because every time I try, it doesn't succeed. Like we're gonna be bridging that gap next month. It's gonna be good. It's really gonna help you bring some P&L in. Awesome. Anything else that you all are struggling with when it comes to options?
I'm not sure if we've covered it, but one of the things I sometimes struggle with is like you see a good setup and you want to do it, but then you go to that options table and it's like Tesla, and it's like, okay, lay out 10 grand per contract and we can talk. And it's like, holy crap, 10 grand.
Yeah.
But you're just like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially on the longer term trades, right? Like they're crazy. Like the leaps on Apple right now are over $1,000 for one of them. That gets tough if you have a $10,000 account, right? Like, so some of the things you can do to offset that, especially if it's further out in time, you can buy 1 or 2 strikes more out of the money. I don't mind that for stocks that are further out in time. It's not going to be as influenced. So if it's a little bit expensive, you can help that fit your budget. You can do a debit spread right away to reduce it. That kind of helps. Or you can break it up into smaller chunks. Okay. So let's take a look at this real fast. On AMD. All right, it makes a heck of a lot of sense for AMD. Big move down for this thing to bounce back up, right? Makes sense. Well, if buying these calls are too expensive to take it to here, what is it going to do on this move up? On a smaller time frame, it's going to give you something like this. And so what if you just go break this thing into puzzles of, all right, I think we're going to get to 190 first. Let me do a shorter term swing trade to 190. Take my profits. Get my entry back in. My next target is going to be 200. Take my profit. So you could break it into smaller chunks. It's harder because it requires a little bit better timing compared to just buying this and letting it do its thing. The downside of that also is you're buying shorter term stuff. Like you might be buying it 15 or 30 days out instead of 4 months out. So if you get some chop, it's really easy to lose on. The smaller the expiration, the faster you're going to lose on it. So the larger expirations, the more cushion you have to kind of be wrong, right? So there are some downsides to that, but it is doable. Like you can break it into chunks and take advantage of some of these smaller moves and then just get in on pullbacks to reduce the cost. I mean, that's worst case scenario. I normally won't do that, but it's an option if you need it. The better scenario with that is whenever you're looking at really long-term stuff. Like let's look at like Apple right now. Okay. We've got some really long-term stuff, like buying a year out. Well, you could break that up into 2-month periods where you're buying some options 2 or 3 months out, you're taking it up to here. So you can still put some time on it, but you're not having to buy options a year out that cost $2,000 each. So that helps, right? You can play that. I don't know if that answers some questions, but the way you do that normally is just go to like a 2 hour, go to a 4 hour and start planning your trades. Like this to me just doesn't look all that great. I swear we're going to start seeing some dips here soon. It feels like every big company right now is really not looking strong. But if we come down here and wick, then maybe that might get going. But as of right now, this just doesn't look very good. But yeah, use that. That helps. So whenever it does finally go like bullish and you're looking at it, you can go, all right, here's my first target. Swing trade here to here. Exit. Wait for the pullback. Grab that. Play that game. Not right now. I'm looking at it, but I'm not going to be pulling the trigger quite yet. I'm going to need some stronger closures. Up again, this just doesn't look very strong. If I can get like a nice trap and then a bounce, then maybe. I've got alerts down here. Let's put an alert right here just to watch that area too, but not yet. Soon, I think. Sometimes these long candles are a pain to see an S curve for me, especially with the wicks toxed in. Said this morning on how Apple is making a strong base. Bulls are building a base. You've said this, but never stuck. Oh, cool. Yeah. So if we jump out to a daily chart, you can kind of see how we're hesitating a little bit. This key area is what I mean by building a base, right? It's not just blowing through it. So bulls are holding. We're starting to build something here. The daily looks much better. It doesn't mean I'm buying it yet. The daily looks better. I go to a 2 hour and this looks weak to me. Because look at this S curve on a 2 hour. Like this is such a good S curve. Your bulls should have been there. And then they just gave it up on a huge candle. And now we're kind of just doing this, right? Short term doesn't look great. Daily looks okay. And that trips people up too, because different time frames mean different things, which means short term might not be as strong. We might have a little bit more of a dip, but that doesn't mean it's actually going to drop too much longer. Make sense?
So go to a bigger time frame to see these bases.
Yeah, and you can find bases on any time frame, but the bigger the time frame, the more weight it holds. Like if you build a base on a weekly, that helps. Like if you kind of see all these chops through here off of this EMA, it's holding. Just like how this was building a base. Nice key level and then hesitation on a weekly chart. That's a good step of like bears didn't do their job. Bears should have pushed through and they didn't. So it helps to start to see, just like here, right? This was a foundation of resistance for the bears. Bulls should have pushed through that. And then once this thing kind of hung out here on a weekly, it was just a matter of time before it started to fall. And that's what I'm seeing right now on, oh man, what ticker was that? Dang, I don't remember what ticker it was. Oh well. Must not have been that important. Is it? No, not J&J. Not John Deere. These stocks, though, like once you put more than 4 weeks in a row, they keep going on a weekly. Like this it won't stop. I don't know which one it was, but one of these started looking pretty weak on a weekly, and oh well. Joe, what's up? Says, I heard something about AMD at 200. Well, were you doing anything with the AMD April 12 puts yesterday? No, I'm gonna hold on to those for right now, at least for a couple more days. On AMD, I'm just going to the weekly again. Here's the thing. Your weekly chart, bulls did not step in last week like they should have, in my opinion. So that's where I'm kind of looking a little weak. I think there's a good chance we're going to be coming down to the 20. So I want to hold on to these puts for right now. If on a daily chart, we can start getting strong candle closures up above 183, so up above all these EMAs, Then on retest, it's probably time to dump those things. They expire in like 2 or 3 weeks anyways. I figured within a couple days we should know what this thing's doing. Yeah. EXPE. All right, so I wanted to make sure I answered your questions today, but I also want to help you set up trades. So instead of me doing it, let's start on a big time frame. Let's start on a monthly chart. Let's diagnose this thing. What do we got?
I'm just about to get into this on a swing trade. That's why I wanted you to go over it and see if I'm on the right path. So
Yeah, walk me through it.
it looks like maybe on a monthly chart, we might be putting in an S curve. But I don't know, it broke out of that consolidation. And so I'm thinking it maybe went up or putting in a little S curve to maybe go higher.
Yeah, so if we look at this here on a monthly, I know I've got a higher low right here, and we closed below that. So I know that we were bearish at this point. I am now waiting on 2 bull candles moving higher and then a revisit back down to a key level. So I don't really have 2 bull candles moving up. Like this bull candle moved up and then it came right back down. You could argue that because this one's higher than that low, it doesn't matter, which I could agree with. So you do have 2 bull candles here, but then when we came back down, did we ever make it back down to this low? No. So I don't have any lower high here. We have easily more than 2 bull candles here. It came down. We still are waiting for it to get down to this low. So I don't have any lower highs here. So in my opinion, we're still bearish on a monthly, even though we are making a bull S curve. So whenever we're bearish and making bull S curves, that means we're normally in some sort of up channel getting ready to go lower. So on a monthly chart, that's where we're at. We've also worked our way into a pretty good resistance area, right? We know where the support is. We know where the resistance is. We work our way back down to a weekly chart. Let's see if on a weekly, we definitely are bullish on a weekly. Like this was a lower high on a weekly easily. So bullish on a weekly. So that's good. Except for here. Dang. So we were bullish. 2 bear candles, bounce up that. So we actually went bearish on a weekly as well. So if I was to look at this, I would say monthly, we're retesting the neckline. We're bearish on a monthly. The bulls had their chance. They gave it up really hard. I don't know if that was earnings. No. Well, yeah, it was. It was earnings. So bulls gave up their trend on this. Now I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a retest back up after this big of a move. So I would be looking at a up channel on this and then go short whenever this up channel breaks.
And for a day trade or swing trade on a daily?
Yeah. So if we're looking here on a daily, I think there's a lot more of an up move to happen here on a daily. Like short term, this could easily make a move. So we are still bearish on a daily as well. We haven't made it back down to this low yet. So even though it's kind of done stuff, it needs to get down to there. So that tells me we are inside this up channel and it is following it pretty nicely. So this is a good breakout. I like the gap on it today. Short term, I could see this being pretty bullish. I would wait for this to close strong, retest, and then bounce up. So let me go to a smaller time frame where we're actually bullish. None of them are because we haven't made it down to there yet. It's like bearish across all of it, but that's okay. We're getting pretty overbought on our 2 hour, which means it might struggle to continue to go higher right now, even though the daily looks like it's getting ready to break. So for me, it's either play it back into some EMAs or play the channel bounce, maybe one more time back into a channel. We're coming back into earnings here within 30 days. So short term, I think it's bullish, but it's going to need to rest for a little bit because all of our indicators are a little too extended on the shorter time frames, like the 2 hour and the 1 hour. It's going to be hard for it to continue to go up. So that's what I would look at personally on this. Overall, I would say it's very bearish. Your better play, your easier play, like I think this is all hard. Your easier play would be to go short and stay with the strength whenever we get to the top side of that if we're overbought, or just to put an alert on this channel and wait for it to break down and stay with the strength.
Makes sense, yeah.
That's the easier trade. even though it does make sense we'd go bullish. So if you wanted to day trade this thing bullish with shares, then you could take advantage of that. That's what I'm doing on SPY right now. It's like, it's going to go higher, but I don't trust it long term. So just kind of get in and get out on a daily basis is safe. I'm into defense safe mode right now across the markets. So day trade this thing bullish, but really I would say wait for this to give you a bear signal and stay with the strength. That's going to be the easiest way to go about it. So put an alert on this once per bar close, set it, and then this will watch it for you.
That's so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. This stock right here to this day holds the largest credit spread loss I've ever had in my life. It was COVID. I had a bull put spread on the second COVID hit, and this thing absolutely got wrecked. And I got caught in the middle of it. I mean, this gap on a weekly just destroyed me. Oh my gosh, that was tough. It was it this one or was it this gap? It was one of this move. Like it was, I couldn't even hedge it. The gap was so big. So I don't know which one that one was, but either way, it doesn't really matter.
But it was a bull put spreads, so the amount you had a max loss, right? You couldn't lose more than what you had gotten in the spread for.
Correct. Yep. So on that one, I lost like 70% because there was no bounce to be had, and it was already through my strikes as fast as it could be.
Oh, it went through the spread.
Yeah. And
It
I
just-
didn't get out because there was a gap. So I ended up getting out, but it gapped across my sold strike. So it's not like I just watched it go through it. It just wiped me out.
Wow.
So that one was fun, but I've never had one since. So one out of like 7,000 trades, not bad odds. That's not too shabby. But yeah, I would I'd be looking for this channel to break back down based on that candle. I think there's some pretty good sentiment. I mean, there's not a whole lot of room. That's another issue. There's not a lot of room for this thing to drop. So I would think that this is actually going to get pretty high and then maybe fall. So maybe a couple months, but cool. Let's dive out here to some other things. I would love for you all to diagnose SPY right now. Let's see. I'm going to choose someone. Someone's like, please don't choose me. Please don't choose me. If you're not comfortable being put on the spot, just let me know. I'm not going to force you. Drake, are you able to talk, my friend? Are you able to unmute yourself? I haven't heard from you in a hot minute. If not, just type in the chat pane and be like, no, I can't.
I can.
Okay.
Just busy and not great service.
Hey, if you need me to choose someone else, I can totally do it. I just missed you all.
YOLO.
Okay.
I was distracted doing something else, but going blind.
Good. That's what I want. How would you play SPY right now on a day trade? And the answer could be I wouldn't. It doesn't mean you have to take something.
I really do like it bullish, kind of coming back into that support near that 15-minute 10 EMA
Okay.
area.
Yep.
It's probably what I would do. I mean, honestly, I might want it a little bit lower, but it depends on how that channel kind of would play right there. I might buy a little off the 15 and then see where the channel how the channel forms here, and then go long, because that's like right off the daily from yesterday top and stuff.
Heck yeah. No, that's perfect. That's exactly what I would be looking for. Again, the RSI is going to tell you it's going to struggle to continue to go higher. It can, but it's low probability. So that tells me either we chill in here sideways long enough to get this thing down, or we start working our way lower, which that's what makes the most sense to me. My 15-minute 10 EMA is perfect. And I love what you said is I'm not going to go super aggressive here because this was such a large move. It could actually pull back further. But this is definitely the buying area. And so that's why I've got alerts here right now, right? And I have to update those alerts a little bit because the EMA moves up. But this is my box for the buying. So You're 100% right. Now it's just a matter of figuring something out. Can we get a down channel over the next hour or two? Most of the time, it's going to take till about, I don't know, noon Eastern for it to form like a really good channel. That's how long it takes to form one normally. So you can kind of plan on that. I normally will check these every 30 minutes. I think that's a perfect plan. And I love that you had a system. I love that you're not trying to chase this up here because this looks like it wants to bounce. It probably does bounce, but all of these factors are telling you not to. So perfect. I'm choosing another random stock and I'm choosing another random person in the group to give me a diagnosis of how they would play it, except this time, it's not going to be a day trade. Oh, shop on an hourly. Okay. Who wants it? Who wants shop on an hourly? I'm going to choose someone. If I don't hear from someone. Bill. All right, Bill. Can you talk right now, Bill? Are you able to unmute yourself? Don't pick you. Do you want it, Bill? What do you got? I can choose someone else too. Some of you are at work, so I totally understand. You're good. I totally understand if you can't talk. Sue, are you able to talk? Maybe, possibly. I'll have to just do a volunteer basis on this then. Because I know quite a few of you are at work right now listening, which I appreciate. Just don't get in trouble. You can always watch the recording. Who wants to take on shop real quick? It could be someone that's already talked. You don't have to be right. It doesn't have to be wrong. It doesn't have to be a trade you'd get in right now. It's just, how would you do it? So it's in a down channel. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll tackle it if you don't mind.
Yeah, Carl, let's do this thing, man. What do you got? And I'm just putting it on a 1 hour right now. So what do you see on a 1 hour chart?
I see it on a downtrend. So
Okay.
I would draw a channel
Okay.
from that wick at the top. Yeah, right down there. Yeah.
So like something like here.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then if it breaks out, I would either if it breaks to the top upside, I would probably wait for the pullback and buy a call or do some kind of a up trade. Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. That's a really good find, and it actually matches the bottom down here really well. That's how you can confirm it. And remember, the opposite side is so that it helps confirm the angle. Because if the algorithms are buying off this, which they are, now you can trust this angle a little bit more. Do you see anything else that might help you? Yeah, there we go, Drake. Yep. Interesting up channel right here too. So I'm not sure where to put this thing. Oh, right there. I think that's it. Okay. So if we tie these two together here, it actually hits really nicely here and hits really nicely here. So you have another thing telling you this is where your bull should be at. You got a nice down channel. So there's quite a bit of reasons of why this could go bullish. It's funny because this was actually the first thing that caught my eye because of these all 3 in a row or 4 in a row. I immediately caught that. That was the first thing I caught. But I do like the fact that you guys are catching these things. Same? Yeah. It's just however you view it. So could you make an argument that you should just wait for this channel to break and go down? How do you know what to do? How do you know if you should go long here or should you wait for a breakdown there? What's the answer to that? Because there is an answer.
For me, it would be what the stock does, what the candle does. If it goes up, then I would wait for the retest. If it goes down, then I would also wait for that retest and then jump in.
Yeah.
Down.
So you could just watch and see which one it goes.
Yeah.
You'll know that you're wrong fast either way, 100%. Every one of you just nailed it. There wasn't one wrong answer in any of that. What's going to help is when you put the bigger puzzle pieces together. A few of you said larger time frames. So this is where you're going to go to a daily chart, and now you're going to start putting the puzzle together on a daily. Where are we at on a daily? Well, we just went bullish on a daily here, right? Lower high, closed up above it. Now we're retesting. So that's automatically going to make me lean a little bit more bullish. Does it have to go bullish? No. We'll know we're wrong pretty quick. So a bigger time frame and finding out the other puzzle pieces is what's going to answer that question of which one should I go with? Should I lean more bullish? Should I lean more bearish? Again, you could just wait and see what it does. But if this thing breaks out, you got a really easy stop here. If we don't hold this up channel, it's pretty easy just to get out. You can lose very small. And where would your target be? Probably back up into this channel at least. All right, we've got a big open gap up here that needs to be filled on a daily. That's where I think it's going to try to get to. So we've at least got our key level right here, right from this big S curve. So this is our key level. Where is that key level going to match the channel? So let's do this real fast. So the key level is right here on this purple line. Where does that purple line try to cross in through this up channel? It crosses right here. It's not possible for us to have that because that would mean that this needed to hit back here on this date. So that tells me that there's a good chance we could actually go a little higher than the key level and then might get rejected. Doesn't have to. But what I try to do is I try to time it up. So if we looked like this, I could go, there's a potential big move to happen, and it's going to have to happen within a couple days, because if it matches this key level, which we know markets are always magnetized towards its key level, it wants to get there, and it crosses the up channel, that's a really good probability that if the bulls step in, they're going to get going. It should be a very quick move because it's going to want to match both of those. That'd be a really good play. Of course, it didn't work out that way. It took too long. So now the door is open to either go past this key level and drop, or maybe finally try to break out of this thing. But the fact that we have such a clear up channel tells me it does have lower to go if it wants to, right? Maybe what we're doing is move down, move up, one more move down, come visit this key level again. That could happen. So you're just putting all of these scenarios, and don't let the scenarios confuse you. Pick your side. Be willing to lose small on the scenario, which I'd be leaning bullish on. If I lost small on that, where would I be looking to go bearish on? Well, back down to this key level. So you just break it down. So instead of letting it confuse you, you just have a game plan. If it goes up or if it goes down, I'm going to have to lose on one of those. If I went bearish here because it broke down and then it went back in, I would lose, but then get in long and take it back up to there. All right, one or the other, it's not the end of the world. Your job is not to be correct. Your job is to select option A or select option B. Meaning A is if the trade agrees with you, let it win big, twice the amount that you're risking. If the trade disagrees with you, lose as small as you can based on the charts, without emotions coming in of being like, I got to get out when the charts are not telling you. Like on AMD, the charts are not telling me yet. I got to stay in it. It's still kind of working. So I'm going to do it. My emotions are like, stupid AMD, it's not bouncing. I'm just going to get out. My plan is, if it didn't bounce right away, start playing some defense by hedging against it and still leaving the door open to make money on the way up. I did that. Good. So just follow the plan. Yes. Yep. AMD is a yellow for sure. It's respecting the entry, but it's not moving to target immediately. So it is a yellow, which means I'll take something off at 1R and we'll see if it can go to 2R, and then I'm out. I'm not going to try to hold this for 5 or 6 or 7 Rs. Yellows, I'm kind of hitting it at 2 for the most part. I'm just less patient. I don't expect a large move out of it. So this is a great practice. We are almost out of time here, my friends, but this is a really good practice of how to set these things up. I feel like you all have this. If you don't feel like you have this, I bet you know more than you think. It's more of a confidence issue. Like, can I actually do it? And a lot of that has to do with just emotions of freezing. Whenever you have this knowledge and whenever it comes time to it, you're so scared of an outcome happening that you freeze up and you blame it, or you kind of like say that you don't understand it. Maybe that is the case. But whenever someone says that and then I test them, they're like, "Oh, I actually know that." Yeah, you know it. So you know it. It's not the knowledge. It has more to do probably with the emotions behind it, right? With the analysis tool. What if I screw up and what if I put too much size on? What if, it's the emotional side of things, because most of you understand it. Now it's going to be more and more reps. I'm not saying you're a master at it, but don't let your brain trick you to think that you don't know something. Or like, I don't know how to do a credit spread. And then I test you and you're like, you know exactly how to do a credit spread. So what is it? What's the bridge? And it's gonna be different for every person. It's not like one answer. But a lot of the times it just comes more reps and then confidence. And again, we're gonna be working on confidence next month. That's gonna be a big one. So perfect timing, because I feel like everyone's kind of in that place where they need it. They need that confidence. Instead of getting confidence from your wins, we're going to get our confidence from something else. And that's going to be a much more sustainable confidence, keeping the game long enough so you can actually see the wins and see the money. Because if you would have given up 2 weeks ago, you would have missed out on the easy day trade yesterday that pretty much turned my month green in one trade. And you're going to miss out on all the amazing trades coming up over the next 2 months, right? It's about staying in the game. And that's what I'll be teaching you. To learn to trade without the analysis tool. So we'll work on that, Pam, for sure. But at the moment right now, just keep doing absolute zeros like you've been doing. Okay. So you don't need to worry about hedging credit spreads. You can just get out when it hits your sold strike. Great. And then whenever you're buying options, just buy the max loss that you're okay to lose. So if you have $1,000 R, spend $1,000 on calls and then just leave it alone. You don't need to use your analysis tool on that. So if there's any of you out there that don't have a good analysis tool or anything like that, then you can use it. There are some other tools for analysis that you can use. Man, right here. Okay, I'm going to copy this over. I used to use this before I had an analysis tool on my broker. It works. Oh man, sorry. I sent that just to you go there. I'll send this in the chat pane. All you have to do is you come in here and you type in a symbol. So let's do SPY. Okay, get the price. And then you can say, are you buying or selling options? You can't do this on a credit spread, I don't think. I think it costs money to do a credit spread. But if you just do long call, long put, you can do it for free. If not, you have to get a membership. I don't think it's worth getting a membership on. So you want to buy it, and then you're just going to go here and select your option. So then it comes over and you're going to select your expiration. Let's do today's expiration. Okay. So let's pull up SPY real fast. Excellent. We're doing a day trade. We're trying to figure out if we wanted to do a day trade on this. So it is bouncing like we talked about, but remember, this is not a good trade to buy. If we wanted, let's say we wanted to buy a put. I don't know why you would up here, but let's just pretend like we're going to. What strike would we buy? Well, we would buy one strike out of the money. So let's say we'd buy the 523 strike puts that expire today. So then we go back to this long option calculator thing here. 523 strike puts. You scroll down to where it says 523. Right here. Basically at the money. And you click the mid. Click the middle one. This is your bid. This is your ask. Click the mid. Okay. So that brings that up over here. Click I agree to the terms and conditions. And then you select your contract. So this right here is telling you your max loss. Start with 1 if you want. Okay. Hit calculate. Then scroll down. You want to change this to P&L, not percent of maximum risk. So profit and loss. There you go. And you can either click on this and here's your analysis tool right here on this guy. Pretty cool. So it gives you an analysis tool. or you can click on this and it'll tell you your P&L based on the price. Okay. So this is expiration. This column right here is what you would make at the end of the day. And this column is what you would currently make right now. The further out in time you go, the more columns you have. Okay. If you need more price, you can change these prices right here. So if we wanted to see what would happen at 513, we don't need to see that. That's too far. So if we were buying puts right now, our target was at, let's say 521. If SPY goes to 521, give or take, we would be up $117 on this one put. The way that you really use this, though, is for your risk. Where would my stop be? My stop would be up at like 524. Okay. So if SPY goes to 524 right now, I'd lose $45. Well, if I have a $300 R, I can go up here and change this. Let's buy 5 of these things. Hit calculate again. Now I've got 5. So again, what did I say it was? 524. I have bad memory. 524. So if stock goes to 524, I'm gonna lose $225. Could I buy probably 1 or 2 more? Well, let's try it. Change it to 7. This is all I'm doing in my analysis tool, by the way. So you could just use this. Okay, 524, I would lose 315 right now. Now you know you could probably, if you're going to do this trade, you could buy around 5 to 7 contracts. How much would you make at your target at 518? $2,700. We're not going to 518 today. So really your target would be more like 522. You would make $434. Great. How much is this costing you? 567. So you're making a little bit less than 100% at 522. So would that make your risk reward worth it? Probably not. No. But there you go. So you can use this website for your analysis tool, by the way. It's great. And you can click on this little thing right here and change it to the actual analysis tool. So you can kind of go 524. I would lose, how much money would I lose down here at 524? You have to hold it right on the line. I would be down $315. Okay. If we went to 525, I'd be down 500. If we went to 520, and it's not going to give you exact a lot of the times, which is kind of annoying, but I would make 1,700 at 520. So use this. It's close enough. It's better than nothing. Okay. And a lot of the times people see this chart much easier than the other slide. So it's up to you. And you can rewatch this to know how I set this up, but just make sure it's not on percentage of maximum loss, and make sure it's on profit loss. And then if you need to change the pricing, you can change it to here. Okay. But this is a great free website that you can use to calculate long and short calls and puts, buying options. You could also calculate it for selling, but I don't do it very often for this. I just use my analysis tool. But I used to use this program like all the time on my trades back when I first started until I went to TradingView. So there's TradeStation. Any questions on this? You want me to run through another example? You want me to go through a swing trade on it? We're out of time right now, but I can run through another one. If not, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just choose long. You can also change this. So just choose call or put up here, whichever one you want. And then select your ticker. Select your expiration date. So let's say we want to do a swing trade. We did May 10th. Okay. So then we'd come through here and we'd choose, let's go with the 520 strike put. Excellent. Start with one of them. Hit calculate. So now we can use this. See how it's wider, because these are your dates now. So each one of these vertical columns is the date. So if I want to see how much money I would lose on April 17th, if SPY went to 525, I'd lose 231. If more time went by at 525, if on May 3rd, I would lose $434 on one put. This is your break-even line. You see how theta affects it? So on the very first day, if SPY goes to 520, you're gonna make $137. But if it makes it to 520 after a week, you're actually going to be down $60 because of theta. Okay. So this is a great way to use it. And again, you can also just change this and it'll do the same thing with multiple expiration date lines. And it's really nice. It's a good little tool if you don't have one. Yep, the link is in the chat pane here, and I'll put the link here on our main channel too in Slack. There's a couple websites out here that do this, but there you go. I posted it in our Slack channel too. But yeah, this is a good one in case you need it if you don't have it for your broker. Okay. Sweet. Main thing was, I think most of you have this. It's going to come with more and more reps. We'll get to it. We're going to spend a lot more time on options and on setups over the next month, but we're also going to start tying in emotional control and confidence and how to overcome those, how to catch your emotions before you trade, etc. It's going to be fun. So that's it. We will do more examples of this evening and look over more and more trades. So have a great day, be productive, smile, wait for your trade setups. And if I get my down channel today, I'll trade. If I don't, I'll wait till Monday, right? I don't need to make money today. I need to trade the greatest setups is what I need to do. So if there are none, I don't take it. Love you guys. Have a good day. See ya.